Hello and welcome to a presentation on Introduction to Cyber Laws. This presentation will tell you about what is cyberspace and what kind of laws are there in India to control and to regulate cyberspace, and what kind of acts have been enacted by the government of India over the last 30-40 years to regulate and control the cyberspace. We will look into the origin of the word cyberspace, and then we will move on to the other areas in which the cyber law are being used and controlled. Cyberspace, actually the law prevailing in the cyberspace is called cyber law. Whoever who are involved in the cyberspace, who are enacting or who are employed in the cyberspace are called cyber laws. The initial term was coined by an Canadian American named William Gibson in the year 1982. Actually, he was used in a short story, and that was published in a magazine called Omni. And then he used the same in his novel called Neuromancer. Actually, Neuromancer is a science fiction novel, and it was a completely imagination, right. He used it as in early 1982, when even internet was not very common. He used the term cyber. Gibson in his novel referred to cyberspace as a network of space created by network computers, where only artificially intelligent people will be operating. So, he thought about only a space where machines and robots, they will be creating the cyberspace. That is what he planned. And cyberspace actually consists of interconnections and interactions between people, software and all services that is available, supported by the World Wide Web and everything created by the information communication technology. And it includes everything, right from computers to the ATM, everything that is being used with the help of a chip and that is being connected to the internet can be called a cyberspace. Particularly in the popular culture, if you look at in the early 1990s, this is being used as a location, right. When I refer to cyberspace, then automatically people who are working in or connected with cyberspace, they come to know that this is a location of which the entire operation is being held. And this is the place where online games occur, right. I am using cyberspace to play a game, multiple game, right, where many people are playing with me across the internet, and chat rooms where people are connecting with each other, interacting with each other, and home of instant messaging. We are talking to each other, and these kind of things are being held in a virtual space called cyberspace. And cyberspace also become an important location for social and political activism, discussion and activism in 20th and early 21st century, that cyberspace has become a pure political site. Now, we will move on to understanding cyber law that control this particular cyberspace. Cyber law deals with all legal issues related to the activities in the cyberspace. Cyber law touch almost everything, right. Whatever that happens in the cyberspace, all transactions, all activities, that is being controlled through the cyber law. And the growth of e-commerce, actually the cyber law was activated and that has been engineered and brought forward only by the e-commerce, because e-commerce is the place where, or the idea where more number of dollars and rupees and all world economy was being rolled out. So, e-commerce is the propellant material and propellant area that drived the advancement of the cyber laws. All these mechanisms, all these governing mechanisms and legal structures, that will come under the larger domain called cyber law. And if you look at specifically, there are three major domains which we need to be familiar with. One is cyber crimes and cyber security, where the cyber law is operating, and second one is about digital and electronic signatures, which authorizes a document in the virtual space. Third one is protection, that how a data is being protected and how the privacy in the cyberspace is being protected. So, all these three domains are being governed under the cyber law. We will see one by one. First, let me explain what is cyber crime. Cyber crime is defined as crimes that are directly related to computers and using computers. if you use the computer or if it is something related to computers and something happens inside the virtual space, some offences which is not acceptable by the law, then that is called cybercrime. So, cybercrime is one of the latest growing criminal activities across the globe. It is not in the developing country or developing country, everywhere, being in a small country. So, cybercrime is one of the growing phenomena which needs to be addressed by the global governments across the world. So, it covers huge range of illegal activity including financial schemes and computer hacking, virus attacks, stalking by email and creating websites that promote hatred, particularly social and political hatred, that has become cybercrime. And cybercrime has been used to describe a wide range of offences including offences against computer data and systems such as hacking, computer related forgery and fraud such as phishing where banking is involved, and content offences and copyright offences such as dissemination of pirated content. I can cite you a couple of examples where the cyber crimes are being punished. The foremost one is cyber stalking. You might be heard about cyber stalking, in which people are tracking somebody in the virtual space and harassing them by tracking. So, it attracts about 3 years of imprisonment with fine up to 3 lakh rupees. And the second one is cyber pornography, which includes child pornography also, where promoting or publishing something on the internet is particularly on the pornographic material attracts punishment. So, this crime attracts up to 10 years of punishment. The fine may be extended up to 10 lakh rupees. And third offence normally come under the cyber crime is intellectual property rights. Obviously, that anything that controls or steals somebody's work and claim it as its own. So, such kind of source code tampering and other things, right, these are all called intellectual property related crimes, and it attracts about 3 years of imprisonment or with fine up to 2 lakh rupees. Another major domain in which international governments are struggling to work out is cyber terrorism. Cyber terrorism is spearheading the terrorism, terrorist activity and terrorist behavior, that is called cyber terrorism. It attracts up to for a term of may extend up to 7 years of imprisonment. And the other area in which we need to worry about is cyber hacking. Cyber hacking refers to people who are hacking the sites and destructing something and deletion of some material, alteration of some material in a computer is called cyber hacking. It attracts up to 3 years or with fine up to 2 lakh rupees. And the final one that is talking about in this domain is called phishing. It deals with the financial frauds, whatever that banking related frauds that is committed on the cyberspace, and electronic banking is called phishing. And this attracts up to 3 years of imprisonment or with fine up to 2 lakh rupees. So, these are the samples in which the cyber crime is being operated and being punished under the cyber laws. And if you move on to cyber security, the term cyber security has been defined in the IT Act as protecting information, equipment, devices, computer resource, communication device and information stored therein from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, disruption, modification or destruction, and that has been defined in the IT Act 2000 of India. Section 69B of the IT Act empowers the central government to authorize the monitoring and collecting of information and traffic data generated, transmitted, received or stored through any computer resource or the purpose of cyber security and for identification, analysis and prevention of any intrusion or spread of computer containment in the country. So, these are all the major areas in which cyber security is being operated. If we move on to the digital signature, actually there are two terms being operated in the signatures. One is digital signature and the other one is called electronic signature. There are now much difference, but these signatures means authentication of any electronic record by a subscriber. If I want to claim something online as mine, then I have to go to an agency, that will the agency will authenticate my signature with a private key and a public key. So, this is how the signature is being operated, and through electronic method IT Act has clearly defined about what is a digital signature. Electronic signature like digital signature is also being dealt with in the IT Act 2000. Actually, section 3A of the IT Act 2000 deals with this particular electronic signature. A subscriber can authenticate any electronic record by such electronic signature or electronic authentication technique, which is considered reliable and may be specified in the second schedule of the IT Act 2000. An amendment, actually there was an amendment made in the IT Act 2000 about electronic signature that introduced the term electronic signature. The implication of this amendment is that it has helped to broaden the scope of the IT Act. Actually, when you have the digital digital signature, then this is an advancement of analog, which means that there is a possibility of another level of expansion. So, to have an inclusive term for another say 10-20 years, they have used electronic signature, nothing but a digital signature. If we move on to the data protection and privacy, section 43 of the IT Act addresses the issue of data protection in India, and the rules have been framed under this particular section. This provision has tried to introduce a mandatory data protection regime in the Indian law. Actually, we have created a complete regime to control the data protection of individuals, corporates and companies. The provision requires a body corporate who receives, possesses, stores and handles any sensitive personal data to implement and to maintain reasonable security practices, following which they are held liable to comprehensible those affected. The meaning is that, for example, I can cite an example about say Aadhaar, right. It collects data from the individual, personal data in a secured way stored in the computers, and government is liable to protect the individual data. So, data protection is being lied with the that is being stipulated very clearly in the IT Act. If we move on to the e-governance, e-governance refers to electronic governance. It has been dealt with under section 4 to 10A in the IT Act 2000. This act provides legal recognition of electronic records and electronic signature, and also provides for legal recognition of contracts formed through electronic means. So, earlier we used to have everything in signed and being registered with the registrar office of public records. Now, this is being completely done through the virtual space, that is being recognized through the law. So, filing of any form, be it a certificate, seeking a certificate from the government of birth, death or whatever it is, or filing of certificate with regard to income tax, right, our assessment is being given. So, how to authenticate the records? So, this particular act authenticates that any form of submission to the government in the form of application or other documents, creation or retention or preservation of records, issue or grant of any license or permit or receipt or payment in government offices and its agencies may be done through the means of electronic form. All kinds of transactions that is being done with the approval of the government. So, there is one agency to deal with the electronic signature, that is agency is called Controller of Certifying Authorities, or simply called CCA. So, the IT Act provides the CCA, actually the IT Act provides for the CCA to license and regulate the working of certifying authorities. So, the certifying authorities are authenticated to issue the documents and the required tools to issue and verify the digital signatures. This is the mechanism by which the electronic signature is being operated. The CCA, or the Controller of Certifying Authorities, issues or certifies the public keys of CAs using its own private key, which enables users in the cyberspace to verify that a given certificate is issued by the licensed CA. For example, I am issuing a certificate. I say that this is my authenticated verified certificate. How will you verify that? There is a procedure to verify that. The CA will give me a private key and I will certify that. and there will be a public key available where you can see and click that will say that when you click the public key, that will give the complete details of the person who issues the private key. So, signature is not referred to the physical form of signature, a code word, a codified form of some kind of mechanism which is being authenticated by the government of India. So, these are the major areas in which we have been trying to understand the cyber laws.